Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Nihongo Master podcast. I'm your host Azra, and today I have something special in store for you. Let's chat all about ki, your spirit, or mind, or air, or nature. See, regardless of what language you're speaking in, our inner being, our soul, brings up a lot of opportunities for conversation, especially in this day and age where the mind over matter mentality is at its peak. I won't bore you with all the complexities of ki in Japanese. We're all about the fun stuff, and only the fun stuff today. No talk about the energy and spirituality that's connected to the word. But also keep in mind that I'm no expert at the ki. Heck, I'm figuring it all out as well. Isn't the spirit a lifelong journey? Anyway, today we'll look at how ki is used in conveying different thoughts and emotions in the Japanese language. So you don't need to always pour your heart out every single time you need to express something. Just use one of these ki phrases. Get it? Ki, like the spirit? Okay, before I crack any more unforgivable puns, let's get right into it. So what exactly is ki? It's one of the most useful words in the Japanese language, in my opinion. It holds many meanings and emotions, so isn't it best for any Japanese language learner to get acquainted with it? One word, tons of usage. Ki can refer to a variety of things. Air, atmosphere, mind, spirit, heart, flavor, feelings, humor, intention, mind, will. The list can go on and on. You quite literally need to feel the word ki. Pretty hard to explain it. There's an interesting part in the Japanese culture, the kikesui concept, making up of three elements: ki, ketsu or chi to mean blood, and sui to mean water. Kikesui translates to life force. And in the Japanese culture, it's believed that the three elements of kikesui are what our bodies are made up of. It's pretty obvious that the ki is quite crucial, language and culture both. But when it comes to the language, the word becomes 10 times more powerful when it's combined with another kanji or word. I bet you've seen and heard of ki before. It's everywhere. It probably has cropped up while you were watching anime or J-drama. There are tons of newbie Japanese words like genki to mean happy or energetic, tenki, weather, kimochi, feelings, and byoki, illness. If you noticed, all of these words encompass concepts of inexpressible feelings that the little package of ki can do the job of describing it for you. The ki is not only good for nouns but also verbs. When it's combined with a few other words, the phrases can have entirely different meanings. There are tons of ki phrases out there that are extremely useful for not only expressing your deepest, darkest desires, but also just everyday conversations. I've split it up to 3 categories. The first is when something happens to your ki. The next is when you do something with your ki. And the third is when your ki does something. So our first category is when something happens to your ki. We use the ni particle after the ki. If you take it in the literal sense, it's like saying that your spirit or soul is affected by an incident or event. To be honest with you, there are quite a few ki phrases in this category, but we're going to take a look at the top 3 ones that you can use casually and day to day. The first one is ki ni iru. If you literally translate it, this phrase means to go into one's ki. The iru in this phrase is written in the same way as the kanji for hairu, which means to enter. See the relation there? If you switch the literal meaning to something that makes more sense, it means that you've taken a liking to something or you're showing interest in something. You can compare it to suki, to mean like. But the difference is that the word suki implies that you've already liked it for a while and is an ongoing feeling, whereas ki ni iru implies that you've grown to like to it after hearing about it. For example, if you say kono seita wa ki ni iru, you're saying that you've grown to like this sweater. It also subtly implies that you previously didn't like it. However, if you say, kono seita wa ki ni iranai, you're saying that you've grown to not like this sweater, which means you used to like it, but not anymore. Moving on, our second phrase in this category is ki ni naru. This is a pretty common one in my opinion. This phrase literally translates to mean to become someone's ki, or spirit. Doesn't make so much sense, does it? When you try to make sense of it, the phrase means you're being bothered by something. You're thinking about something a lot and it's bothering you. Basically, you're concerned and worried about something. All of that in just 3 words. Ki, ni, naru. Say you're worried about your weight, regardless if you're going over or under the acceptable number. Everyone is somewhat concerned about it, right? The word for weight is taiju. So if you put it in a sentence, you get taiju no koto ga totemo ki ni natte iru. In that sentence, you switch it to its te iru form, implying that it's an ongoing concern. You can also use it in its negative form. Watashi wa ima taberu no wa ki ni naranai. This translates to, I don't feel like eating now. The third key phrase is ki ni suru. More often than not, you'll hear this in its negative form. Ki ni shinai. Can you guess its literal meaning? Ki ni suru literally means that the key has something done to it, but sensibly, it means that you're deeply troubled by something. Don't confuse its meaning with the previous one. Ki ni suru is more like giving attention or care about something. As I've mentioned, I've always heard it in its negative form, like ki ni shinai de, which means don't worry about it. You don't hear ki ni naranai de when someone tells you not to worry. It's usually the ki ni suru phrase. So if you're worried about gossips and rumors or what other people think of you, then I'll say to you, Hito no itte iru koto o ki ni shinai hou ga ii desu. Hito translates to people. Itteiru is the teiru form of iu, to mean to say. So the sentence means, don't worry about the things people say. If you noticed, we use the particle ni for all of them. So we have ki ni suru to mean taking a liking to something, ki ni naru to mean to be bothered by something, and ki ni suru to mean to worry about something. How simple is Japanese to have phrases to do the expression of our difficult emotions for us. By the way, if you haven't checked out our official website yet, why not give it a browse? At Nihongo Master, we offer efficient Japanese lessons that are quick, easy, and fun for Japanese language learners of all levels, from beginners to advanced. Our smart tools will assist you in areas where you need a little bit of a push and congratulate you on the ones you've aced. With a community of over 50,000 Japanese students, you're not alone on your learning journey. Make new friends and improve together with our point system, collecting points as you go along. Ask away any questions you have on our group discussion pages. There's sure to be others as well as our Japanese instructors that are quick to answer. You can also take Nihongo Master with you on the go and learn Japanese as you trot the globe. Practical, right? Our next category is when you do something with your ki. Ever heard of the phrase, follow your heart, not your mind? I feel like this category is the epitome of that. We all do things because we feel that it's right in our hearts. That feeling can be difficult to describe sometimes, and usually you'd use tons and tons of words to try to explain it. Not to worry, here we have 3 phrases to help you with that situation. For this category, we use the particle o after the word ki. First, we'll take a look at ki o tsukeru. The word tsukeru means to add. So you're basically adding or applying your ki to something. How do you apply your spirit to something? How does that make sense? The only way it does make sense is when you're being cautious and careful when doing something, which is the meaning of ki o tsukeru. If you've watched a couple of anime or J-drama, I know I've watched more than my fair share, you will have heard some of the characters saying this sentence at some point. Ki o tsukete ne. This basically means, take care. If you're done for the day at work or school and parting ways with your colleagues or schoolmates, you can usually say this phrase while parting. Ja ne, ki o tsukete kaite ne. See you, be careful getting home. I mean, it could also be used for other situations, like crossing the roads. We all need to be careful crossing the roads. Look right, look left, then right again, kids. So you can say, ki o tsukete douro o wataru. Be careful crossing the roads. Douro translates to road or highway, and wataru means to cross. The next key phrase in this category is ki o tsukau. If I told you that tsukau means to use, what do you think this phrase means? To use your ki? Bingo! So how do you use your ki? You be considerate to someone's feelings, of course. This phrase is used to tell someone to take people's feelings into consideration or to pay attention to someone else's situation. The global pandemic is a perfect example. We're all in this unusual new normal where masks is a mandatory piece of accessory as soon as we step out of the house. Of course, it's for the safety of others and ourselves. It's being socially responsible. You're thinking of others' feelings when you wear a mask on. So if you see someone who's not wearing a mask, you can tell them to ki o tsukai nasai. Please be more sensitive. On the contrary, if you're too polite or attentive, someone might tell you to ki o tsukawanai de kudasai. Please don't worry about me so much. Say your colleagues being quite formal with you and kind of like walking on ice around you because they think you're of different ranks. Just say, 私たちは同僚だから気を使わないでいいよ. 同僚 translates to colleagues. Our last phrase is 気を悪くする. I personally don't use this key phrase as much as I would like to, but I've heard loads of people using it. So if you figured it out, 悪くする comes from the word 悪い, which means bad. When you connect it with する, it implies that you're making something bad. Don't worry, this phrase doesn't mean that your key is going bad. It means that you feel hurt by something. You're taking offense at something said or something you saw. Have you ever been offended by something you saw on social media? I know I have, plenty of times, and more times than I care to admit. I wish someone had said, 気を悪くしないで to me every time I did get offended. Or say someone you know has done something that would definitely upset someone else. Maybe your schoolmate vandalized the school table with stuff bad-mouthing about the teacher. The sensei will get extremely mad, no? So go up to your friend and say, 先生はこれを見たら悪くするよ. If the teacher saw this, he'll be really offended. So now you've picked up 3 more ways to express your ki. Telling someone to take care using ki o tsukeru, telling someone to be more sensitive with ki o tsukao, and to soften the blow of an offense with a ki o waruku suru. Moving on to our final category, which is when your ki does something. It's kind of like when you let your heart choose your decisions for you instead of deciding with your mind. To me, that's kind of what this category feels like. Sometimes it's good to listen to the heart, every once in a while. In this category, we use the ga particle after the word ki, and similarly, we have 3 phrases. The first one is ki ga tsuku. I'd say this is probably on the top of the most common ones on the list. It's extremely useful. The phrase means to realize something or notice something. How many times have you realized that you forgot something after heading out the door, or noticed something different about a friend you haven't met in ages? See, told you this phrase is useful. I'm not a gamer myself, but I'm pretty addicted to one specific game, and when I do play it, I can play for hours on end. ずっとゲームをしていて、気がついたら10時間経っていた。しまった。I kept playing the game and when I realized 10 hours have passed, oh no. Anyone else can relate? You could also say it in a different sentence structure. Have you ever left something in a taxi and only realizing it when it's too late? タクシーを降りるときは財布がないことに気がついた。When I got out of the taxi, I realized I didn't have my wallet. Oh, the horror. Our second phrase in this category is 気が変わる. Kawaru means to change. So can you take a guess at what this means? To change one's ki is a pretty close translation to the meaning. It means to change one's mind. I'm a fickle-minded person, so I change my mind more often than I like. I would want to take a walk 1 minute and as soon as I get up from bed, I decided not to. So I can say that as 散歩に行こうと思うけど、気が変わった. Sanpo translates to stroll. Oh, I have another example in mind. 男の人は気が変わるものだよね. Ladies, did you get that? Do you agree? What I said was, men are ones to change their minds, aren't they? Our final phrase on this list is 気がする. A pretty common everyday key phrase, I'd say. This literally translates to mean the key is doing something. So it's like your spirit is kind of telling you to do something. The actual meaning of this phrase is to have a feeling, kind of like a gut feeling, let's say. It's like saying, I feel like, you kind of know that something's going to happen. Like, it's going to rain today. 雨が降る気がする. Whether it's because it's cloudy or you just felt it in your ki, you can express that feeling with this phrase. When you're familiar with an area so much that you have a feeling of the layout pretty well, and if you're walking over to a restaurant, let's say, you just know it's towards a certain direction. Just tell your friends this. レストランはこっちの方にある気がする. Moral of the story for this category is, listen to your heart. Sometimes it'll lead you to the right and even new places. Sometimes it can be a total disaster. Either way, your ki is going to do whatever it wants. Your mind has to decide if your being is going to listen to it. It doesn't matter if you don't listen to your ki. You just need the key phrases to express them. And now, you have 9 essential Japanese phrases using the word ki to help you with all that difficult yet important task. Head over to the Nihongo Master blog if you're interested in reading up on more ki-related content. And if you're keen on picking up some more Japanese for yourself, you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and the official website to learn more. Thank you so much for listening in. Join me in the next one where I'll be walking you down another avenue of Japan's rich culture. Mata ne!